I truly hope you enjoy this behind the scenes look. This is the most vulnerable video that I've ever uploaded. I was not planning to upload this. This is how I prepare behind the scenes to take the stage, to give a talk, or to prepare C-level executives. Hope you enjoy. I'm Liberty Madison and I love technology. I'm Liberty Madison and I love technology. I'm Liberty Madison and I love technology. I love it. I love technology more than anything in the world. I can't even think of a concept, thing, idea, person that I love more than technology. And a lot of people think, what the heck are you talking about? Why do you love technology so much? I love technology because it's the one singular tool that you can leverage and utilize to change the future of not just your world, but your legacy. You can leverage it for upward mobility financially, mentally. Every aspect of your life can change when you grasp fundamental concepts of technology. When you think about, when you say technology, what actually do you mean? It's two things that I think about when I think about technology versus the way that you think about it maybe 50 years ago. I look at technology from two aspects when I think of it as an umbrella concept. As an umbrella concept, technology, you can be a startup founder. That means you can have an idea and activate the idea. You can ideate, you can iterate, you can test, you can execute, and you can receive funds and money for your product. On that note, you are creating a product. You're creating a company. Even if you don't create a company, we're just going to stay in the tech founder in that pillar, in that section. Even if you don't create a company, you can create a side hustle. You can create opportunity, and it could eventually turn into a company if you so choose. But it does give you upward mobility that either you are building a product, whether it's a SaaS product, or you're leveraging actual technology, which whether it's internet tools and other SaaS products, in order to create financial stability, but not just stability. I feel like stability is 50 years ago. It reminds me of when people say the information age. We're past that. It's information's at your fingertips. We're past the information age. That don't even say what the heck. Not necessarily that. But when you think of technology as a whole, that's one aspect of it. You have an idea, you can execute it globally and at minimal cost that you've never seen in the history of your lifetime or your parents' lifetime or in the history of the world as a whole. The other aspect that I love about technology, because I look at it as a two-pronged approach when I think about it, and that's just light, kind of hitting it just to outline the two separate areas. And I think about, so you have your tech founder, and we'll use Mark Benioff as an example. I love using Mark Benioff as an example. I think he's an amazing CEO. And he is someone who possesses technical skills. His technical prowess, his aptitude gave him the ability to create a product, build upon that product. And that is a product that we now know as Salesforce. And Salesforce leads us to the second category that I really, really love. It's not the tech founder, because everyone can't be a Mark Benioff. However, they can be an employee at Salesforce. So, what that looks like is you can be an employee at a tech company, and that puts you in the category and realm of a tech worker. So, you have these two access points into what technology looks like in modern day. That is, you're a tech founder or you're a tech employee. I love these two intersections because one, they're both in tech, but they have very, very distinctive and specific needs. For example, if you're a tech founder, you have different concerns. You're looking at fundraising, VC opportunities, just all these different things that fall under being a tech founder. However, when you're a tech worker or a tech employee, I love that because you can play in so many different spaces. One, the reason I love the tech worker It's because, unlike any other role in history that you've experienced or that your parents experienced, let's go back one generation, most of the time they would tell you to be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. Not because people want doctors, lawyers, and engineers in their family. It was because being a doctor, lawyer, or engineer brought stability, it brought financial security. And that's what people truly want. They want financial stability and financial security. In the day and age that we live in and beyond plus, where we are right now, plus, it will always be driven with technology. Those tools weren't available before, so they didn't have the mindset or thought to say, go learn these technical tools, go learn these technical skills, be a leading learner of someone who's constantly learning. Back in the day, once you obtained your JD or your doctorate degree, that was it. You were a doctor, you were a lawyer, and possibly some continuing educating courses that could help you learn new discoveries. And at the time, new discoveries weren't annual discoveries. They were, when you get into the academic world, it's a lot of pushback in that space. It's definitely not traditionally a space for innovation. When you're in tech as a whole, it's the bedrock of innovation. That's why I love Silicon Valley so much. It is the run fast and break things. It's the opportunity to see what works and see what doesn't work, see how we can scale and see how we can monetize. That's why I love the tech worker. There's so many different opportunities for you to enter a tech company and change your life and legacy forever. When you look at the average salary of a traditional worker who's possibly not in tech, and you look at the average and the median in the United States alone, you're typically looking at a salary that is under 50K. Under 50K is where you typically live. When you're in the tech space, the thing that I really, really love about this, it will be the first time in history. And when I say history, I mean that very specific to you. The first time in history that you yourself may be the first person in your direct lineage and direct family who's made six figures, who has a salary offer of 100,000, 150,000, and a TC of $400,000. That doesn't conventionally happen. And it doesn't conventionally happen as a whole, but specifically, explicitly, especially to diverse communities. I feel like technology levels the playing field because in tech, it doesn't matter what color you are. It matters if you can code. It doesn't matter what color you are. It matters if you have an idea. It matters if you can champion and rally people behind the idea and to move it forward. So when I think about technology, I think about the transformation that it causes for your life. I don't think about the tools or gadgets that's created, and I want to show you the latest iPhone 13 or iPhone 23. I think about what your day to day involvement in the tech ecosystem can do for you, can do for your family, can do for your community, and can do for your legacy and your accessibility to wealth building and financial education and financial literacy. Once you have the basics done, we can look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Once you have the basics done and you are out of survival mode, because when you're coming out and you have a TC of 250, you're not in survival mode. You now have the basis and opportunity to start learning, how do I build upon this wealth? How do I increase it incrementally? How do I make investments? So at this point, you could possibly be the first person in your lineage, in the history of your family, who is now purchasing properties, making investments in the stock market, having not just a dream home, but rental properties, getting into new areas of industries. That's the opportunity that I think about when I think about technology. When I think about technology, I think about how it impacts one, industries as a whole. That's why I love technology. You never stop learning, you'll never outgrow it. It will never be obsolete because it's the fabric and the undercurrent that everything runs on. Without it, you have nothing. And it I feel so strong about it because I know that so many people look to the past. You look to your parents, you look to your grandparents. I love it. I love the nostalgia in it. I think it's great. However, in some areas, such as your career, your trajectory, and your direction, don't do it. Do not look back because the world will never go backwards. Once the iPhone was introduced in '07, when the iPhone was introduced, do you think we said, you know what? We got to go backwards. Let's go ahead and hit up Nokia and call them. We did not. We're never going backwards when you open the door to certain technologies. I think the most interesting thing for people who are resistant to change, if they're resistant to change, I say this: technology inherently is change. So if you're resistant to change and you just like things to stay constant, look at it as things will constantly change. There you go. Things will constantly change. You have to be a person who's a learning learner. And that also brings up so many conversations on how I feel about traditional education, how I feel about traditional college degrees. They worked for the time that they worked. They worked for a time prior to the information age. They worked for a time where information was not available at your fingertips. That's a whole nother conversation on how I feel specifically about that. But as a whole, I want you to think about technology differently. Don't think about it as something that is separate from me. Think about it as a complete integration in your life. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that can afford you, your children, your parents, their parents, their children's children, all of it. It's something that can afford your children, your children's children, and that goes into what we typically define as legacy. But we have people who aren't building for legacy because they don't have the financial stability. A career in technology gives you the financial stability to build a legacy.